And we're live once again. Hi everyone, hi, I'm ALL the Cryptic Hybrid. Welcome to today's second live stream, the more important live stream of the day, because this is a developer interview, and you know how I love doing those, and I never say the word love, so that's very important. And today we're gonna talk about an amazing looking game called The Blind Prophet, and here with me to talk about it is Baptiste. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm awesome, I'm pumped. And I'm gonna let you talk. Tell me about every single thing since the conception of the game to now. You can start with,
Okay.
how it all began.
Yes, in the beginning, I would say that I've played Vampire the Masquerade, and I just loved the universe that we were into, and I wanted in the beginning to do a sort of RPG with an open CD, with combat, and you can pick any demon that you could play, and these kind of things. But it appeared to me, and I discussed with friends, and they told me, well, the universe is cool, you're doing pretty cool drawings, and it's fantastic, but it's too much work, you're alone, maybe you should do something else, And so I started I started thinking about what I really wanted to do, and the type of themes that I loved, and that was mainly about demons, religions, stuff like this. And I had some philosophical subject that I really wanted to talk about. And I told myself that at the end, I told myself that the best game that I could say that I could do to realize all these themes was a point and click, because it really fitted the idea, the narration that I had in mind at the end. So yeah, this is how all started. And what do you want to know except about that?
Yeah,
maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So it's a point-and-click adventure game, right? That's very important.
Yeah.
And it definitely has a very distinct style. So can you tell me a little bit about how you reach this, how you reach the world, what inspired you in terms of in addition to Vampire the Masquerade, maybe artwork or books or other types of media that formed this look of the Blind Prophet and the story and the world around it.
Yeah, I would say that it's basically, for the visual part, it's Mike Mignola who is creating Hellboy, and I just love this artist. I highly recommend everybody to check Mike Mignola. It's like fantastic work, and I've always loved comics and French comics. I would say also Sin City from Frank Miller. I discovered, like everybody, the movie in the beginning. Then I discovered the comic book, and it was like fantastic. Frank Miller is very, very powerful, and what I love is that you can create with this comic book style very expressive images. That sometimes you can't have with 3D. So I think it is the strength of making a game in 2D, because you have this expression, visual expression, that is really important. I would say Frank Miller, Mike Mignola, Sergio Topi. This is an artist that isn't very mainstream. A lot of people don't know Sergio Topi, but he's very, very famous through the artist, in the artist world, but not very mainstream. I highly recommend you to check him. And I would say the French Moebius. Maybe you've seen an indie game, whose name is Send. I don't know if that's the exact title, but it's like 3D, but with cel shading, and it reproduces a French artist whose name is Moebius. Go check it. And they are making a 3D games with cel shading that is gorgeous, based on his art. And that's it, you know. He makes tremendous illustrations with a lot of tiny details, tiny lines, and it gives a real, you know, like texture to the image, and it's really interesting to see. And for us, for artists, it's like gorgeous, you know. And this is it. But you know, I have tons of other artists and movies and series that I love. And you know, when you are a creator, it's hard to say like, okay, this game comes from this inspiration, this inspiration, this inspiration. It's like a ton and a ton of things.
Right, unless you were making a clone of Diablo and it's like, yeah, it's a Diablo clone. It's like we changed a few things and it's a Diablo clone, it's fine. So yeah. One thing that, you know, the way you talk, I really, can you tell us a little bit about your background? Because somehow this is my assumption, maybe it's something that's outside of the gaming world. Like, did you specialize in something else than games? Did you have other interests, artistic interests outside of games?
So yeah, for my artistic background, in fact, not really. In fact, when I was young, I just loved making games, you know, like I didn't know how to program. So basically I was doing games with card games with paper at home, and I was creating only games, board games to play with my friends, and I was just happy with that, you know. So it's the only part of except for drawing. I just did some game design, but no. Then I've been doing later art school in Lyon in France, and I became concept artist and illustrator. But mainly I only worked for video games. In fact, I've not. Didn't made any comic book, for instance. Just game at the moment.
Can you tell us, you know, what other games you worked on previously?
Yes. I don't know if this game is very well known outside of France because it was a Franco-French stuff. But have you seen a game whose title is Le Donjon de Naheulbeuk, the Dungeon of Naheulbeuk? It's very. I don't know.
The name sounds familiar, actually. The name sounds familiar. The French name sounds familiar. I don't think I've played it, but it does sound familiar, actually.
Okay, so maybe you don't know. I was just asking, but I've worked on what's the name? Warhammer 40K Space Hulk. You know that game?
Yeah.
It went out.
Yeah, that's yeah.
And other stuff like this, but I don't remember which one have been announced. But basically, it's the same franchise. I can't say exactly what it is, but it is in the same franchise. And I worked on The Crew 2. You know the car
racing game from Ubisoft.
Yeah, the racing game. Yeah, thank you. But it's not exactly my favorite kind of game. And I'm thinking.
So
I don't
is it fair to say that this is your first project, like your first project on your own? Is this your first indie game that you are working on? Since doing all that work?
No, not exactly, because I've been working as a concept artist and illustrator with Hibernian Workshop, the guys who are working on Dark Devotion. Maybe you've seen that game. This is a roguelike.
Yeah, I played the demo. Yeah, it looks amazing, by the way. I played the demo version back when they were on Kickstarter, I believe. And the game looks incredible. So if you having worked on that, that's, great work then. Because that game looked awesome from the very beginning. And I can't wait for it to come out. It's not out yet.
Yeah, to tell a little bit of what I've done on this, in fact, in the beginning
Mm-hmm.
of they began the game without me. I joined them for like 6 months, but we were friends, you know. I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't paid for that. It was just because we were working on the same engine, and they were very kind, and they didn't even started the Kickstarter. But I've done a
Mm-hmm.
couple of illustrations for them and a couple of concept art. But that's one of my only experience in indie with indie developers. But yeah, I can guarantee you at the moment, because I followed the development, that the game is gonna be awesome. I play this, and it is just it becomes very very good for those who love 2D Dark Souls style. I can guarantee you.
Mm-hmm.
But except of that, I've been doing a game. It's a little bit shameful, but I already started a Kickstarter 2 years ago for a game that I created, whose name was The Salt Fortress. Maybe you know that game. I hope not.
No, I don't know. What was
Uh,
that about?
Well, basically, I created a game. I finished it. I could send it to you on a private message. It's
Make
finished,
it a
but
tier. Put it on one of the tiers on the Kickstarter on the Blind Prophet. It's like if you pledge at least 100 euros, you'll get my project.
oh my
Why
God.
not?
Well, no, I can't do that, because in fact the game is not that good. In fact, it's not bad, you know, but it wasn't
Mm,
good enough for me to continue to do it. But it was
mm,
my true first game. Then I learned from my errors on this game, which were basically game design errors. The game wasn't good,
mm,
what wasn't pleasant enough to play. And I told myself, okay, I'll just learn on my errors. I've lost time, never mind. And now I'll work on my true first project that will be a serious project with serious people with me and stuff like this. And this is how the Blind Prophet went out.
mm.
And now I can say
So
that it's my first
yeah,
serious project.
I
That's
mean, it's definitely a very serious project because it looks very serious in terms of
yeah.
from the look to the setting to the to the polish. So how long have you been working on the Blind Prophet?
Mm, At the moment, 1 year and a couple of months, something like this. Yeah, I think I started maybe in October 2017, something like this. Yeah,
Hmm.
1 year and a couple of months.
Okay, so
Um,
that's quite a bit of time
yes,
invested
but
in it. Hmm.
I needed a lot. Uh, I've made some contracts in between. I've not been. I
Hmm.
did not worked on it 1 year and a couple of months. It was
Right.
in my mind seriously for this time, but it's only been like 6 months that I stopped taking any contracts from any clients and just working on this game in order
Hmm.
to create a cool demo, to finish the engine, check if everyone's good, if everything's good, stuff like this. But I've already finished a lot of content that you'll see in the rest of the game, in fact, like
Hmm.
tons of backgrounds, discussions, stuff like this. It's not finished at all, but there is no. I didn't launch the Kickstarter with only the demo. You know, I knew that I
Hmm.
needed to do a couple of other stuff in the game in order to be sure that I not launched the Kickstarter and wait 2 years until the player can finally play to it, because as a player
Hmm.
I wouldn't love this if I back a project on Kickstarter and you have to wait 2 years before playing the game, you know. So that's why I really want the game to be out before the end of the year. That's it.
Okay, that's a fair point. So let's talk about what the base of the game and what makes it tick. So tell me a bit about the world in which everything happens. Maybe it's a bit about the history and especially about the one town. Are you actually going to be in just in Rothborg the whole game, or would you see something outside of it in the full release?
To answer the beginning of the question, the universe is you play as an apostle. For those who don't know the game, you play an apostle, and the apostle are soldiers of God, basically, and they have to travel through time and space in order to destroy demons and all the threat to humanity. So you'll play Bartholomeus, but Bartholomeus is 2,000 years old, and he has already done what he is going to do or supposed to do hundreds and hundreds of time. He knows his mission. He is eternal, and he knows what to do. But so the mission of the apostle is quite simple. He's arriving in a city that is corrupted. The demons don't know that he is going to kill them, so he has to stalk them and kill them, and then going back to heaven and being sent to any other mission from the desire of God. So basically it is. So yeah, you can imagine in this game we will just stay in Rothburg, but you can imagine that there could be some kind of DLC or The Blind Prophet 2 that is taking place, I don't know, maybe in medieval stage, where you do the exact same thing, the exact same type of mission with another apostle, because they are 12 apostles, as you know, and maybe in a Renaissance style, or maybe a futuristic style. You can imagine a lot of variations around the basic story. And but in this game, tell me.
No, I was just thinking from what you were saying. Would this be kind of like a player's or anyone's entrance into this world that you created? This is kind of like the introduction of the player to the world, and you're thinking of expanding it later with, as you said, maybe the adventures of other apostles at different time periods, but the same world, but different stories within that world. Is this kind of like the first step inside the world?
In fact, to be honest, I don't even know myself. It really depends on the enthusiasm of the players, because I think that I have to some kind of respect the players if they really want, to know the story of other apostles and stuff like this. I think it would be really cool to do it, but I don't personally have in mind to create a sort of my universe based on this, and I'll just do it for the next 10 years of my life, stuff like this. No, not exactly, but it really depends on how the player will react to it. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe at the end of the year I will just have enough of this kind of universe, and I will desire to do something else. I don't know. So I won't promise something. Yeah, maybe. The original game that I wanted to do was really some kind of fantasy to me. Like, I really wanted to do that, but yeah, it wasn't wise to do it, because it would have asked too much work to make it great, So, or I would have to already have some money to fund it, to get people with me, etc. And that wasn't the case at the moment. So maybe it depends on how the game will have a success or not. I don't know. So let's ask for the future.
Yeah. Well, but you know what? I really think that's a good idea. That's because a lot of people, maybe it's something with age. That's a bigger discussion. It comes with age. I think that perspective is really good. You know, you having an idea and wanting to do something, but seeing the scope of it, and you know, you choosing to step away from it from at least for a time to make something that's smaller, let's say, in terms of the scope, right? But it's still something that you're passionate about and something that you can actually bring to fruition in a decent amount of time. I think that's you know, I think that's a fair choice.
Yes, yeah, it is a discussion that we have a lot with Arthur. Arthur, with my composer, but also the CEO of Ebonian Workshop, and it's really hard, you know, to reach the degree of maturity in terms of game design and general decisions about game making, knowing what you can do and what you can't do, what are your funds, and this, instead of going through the wall, you know, you have to reach some kind of maturity.
Yeah. Know your
This is
limits.
normal.
Know your
Yeah,
limits
no,
and
no,
push those limits, but know them. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. You know, like
So
I know
yeah.
that
Go ahead. Sorry.
with the Blind Prophet, I have something very stable, and if I want to add something, it will be not easy. You know, you always have to work, but it would be easier, you know, to start with a reasonable scope and wait to and work to add on top of it instead of having a too big scope. Well, I think you understand what I mean. Sorry, it's
No,
really
no, I
hard for me
understand. Yeah.
to express because it's not my
No,
native
that's
language. Sorry.
that's fine. I understand you perfectly. I'm sure people watching understand you perfectly, so that's fine. There's no.
I hope.
So tell me a little bit about let's say the social structure of the world, because I think that's very important, right? So you're an apostle, like your character is an apostle, so that's clearly a religious term, a religious figure, a religious concept, let's say.
Yeah.
So how does where's the place of religion in this world, and you know, how pervasive is it? Is it gone? Is it like a very secular world? Is religion a very important part of the world? And you know, how do people respond to it in the game?
That was a hard reflection that I had, was how to make it, you know, like I don't want to play a game that is doing moral to me, you know, like I don't want to play a game that is heavy on this side and is I don't know how to say it, but I didn't want to look like I don't know.
You're preaching
And
or
yeah,
promoting a religion, or
yes, I don't want it to sound like this, you know. So
mm-hmm.
I just told myself, well, you play an apostle, he will not like do something like moral stuff like this. We have to introduce it in order to be more intelligent, more subtle. And I had to have a personal reflection about what is the exact the good limit between wisdom and morality, these kind of things, in order to have a good storyline plot that is both universal in terms of wisdom and pleasant to play and pleasant to understand, you know. So yeah, I wouldn't. You know, myself, I'm atheist. I'm atheist, but I don't. And that was kind of tricky, you know, to deal with this question about what kind of distance we have with religion into the game. So, but yeah, it's not like I would say that the result is not like you have the impression to have a Christian person beside of you making moral stuff, and no, it's I try to be more subtle, you know, and maybe even sometimes the apostle, you know, his aim, his goal is to liberate humanity from demons. But sometimes you have to go fast, and you'll see in the game the hero will take some decisions. I don't want to spoil anything. You'll have choices to make into the game, but sometimes the apostle will make himself some decisions that you'll say, okay, I understand why he does that, because you really need at this moment to do that in order to save the world, basically. But it's not really, it's not exactly how to say, because if in French we have an expression, but it's not Christian, you know, it's not exactly love and stuff like this, you know. I don't know the English expression, but sometimes you have to take shortcut, you know, in order to do the good. You have to sometimes deal with the bad, you know.
Yeah. Well, it's nuance, right? It's because from what I've seen in the demo, the apostle doesn't. He's not a moral figure. He's not there to tell people who sin or who are not having the best time of their lives and they're making mistakes, you should be like this, you're angering God, you're doing something wrong, you're gonna go to hell. There's none of that, at least in the demo. There's none of that. So your character has a clear, let's say, target and
mission.
Whatever he needs to do in order to resolve that, he'll do it. You know, that's could be morally, you know, in a gray area, but it's definitely not imposing some morality on you. Like, this is good, this is bad, and that's it. Take it or leave it. No, it's like choice.
In fact, the deep sense that I put in the game is that the player, if there are bad humans in the universe that in which you will play, that are doing like rapes and aggressions and humiliation, exploiting people, stuff like this. They are just demons or corrupted by demons, you know. So the apostle doesn't have to come and say, oh, you're doing bad things. In fact, it's more like working on the source of the evil, which is the demons, and how they get to corrupt people, and working to basically kill them in order to make the universe more balanced again, you know. But it's not like blaming people for doing bad things. It's like working on the source of the reason why they are doing bad things. This is more the goal of the apostle, and he don't want to spend time. He will not spend time explaining people this is bad, this is good. No, he will work on the source of problems.
You know, I'm thinking since you said that he's not a young fellow. He's been doing this for a very, very long time. I'm thinking that experience alone that he has would make him less likely to try take the time and explain to people, or to talk with them, or to have a discussion about what's good, what's bad, like, to change that. No, he just wants to get the job done, because after a while, after you do something for a very long time, you just get it over with, right? You don't you don't have to expand on it. So I think at least that's how I saw the apostle, in the demo.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Can you tell me? Sorry, go ahead.
So that's just it. If people play the demo, that's why I designed the first scene of the game. The girl is saved by the apostle, and she's just like, oh my god, I almost got raped, and it's horrible. And just like, okay, so I need informations in order to kill the demons. Just give it to me. And she can't understand why he is not moved by it, and he can't understand why she is moved by it. It's not a reflex for him anyway. I think it's the same for people who have made war, like World War I and World War II. I think if they cut their fingers, like even if there is blood, they don't care, This is the same for the hero.
Right, he has been exposed to so many things that he's not fazed by
Exactly.
the cruelty that the world exposes to him. But he's seen it all before. For
Yes,
him,
it's
it's not new.
common
So,
job, it's eternal for him.
yeah. So is he the only apostle that is in the world? Can there only be one? Can there be only one at a specific time, or will we meet maybe others?
No, theoretically, there is only one apostle doing one mission at the time. Well, you'll not see any other apostle, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So tell me a little bit about, because he has a power that you can see in the demo where various points of interest are highlighted, and I like that it's a mechanic that you've seen in other adventure games, but with him it's like it's a sixth sense that helps you when you investigate, when you want to find something. Will the apostle get any, let's say, additional powers throughout the game?
At the moment, no, but maybe. In fact, in the beginning, I thought that he could have this first to go really into the game design reflection. He was always supposed to have this power, and my idea in the beginning was every time you kill a demon, you get a new power, which is giving you, like, I don't know, bonus strength, or maybe you can manipulate people, stuff like this. If you kill a very strong demon, you get a strength power. If you kill the demon of the manipulation and the luxury, stuff like this, you get a luxury, a manipulation power. But I told myself that if you get too much powers, it will be harder to get real challenges. So basically, at the moment, we will just keep this one. Maybe we will have some other powers, but no, I stayed on this one because, in fact, in point and clicks, the weaker the hero is, the better it is, because basically in point and clicks, you have to be subtle. The hero needs to take objects and think and discuss with people and understand how things work. He can't. This is not the type of game where paradoxically, this is not the type of game where you play a hero that is very strong and then kill everybody, stuff like this. But the apostle can do this, But in fact, in the lore of the game, and this is not something that is explained in the demo, so it's not really spoiled because it's explained in the next scene after the demo. But he explains that once, if you really want to kill a demon, you have to stalk him, but you can't take every shortcut, because you have to investigate quietly, understand what is going on, and if you want to destroy the negative power of a demon, you don't just have to kill a demon, but also destroy all the system that he put in place in order to manipulate humans, basically, and do evil stuff. So you have to be quiet and not use strength, and that's why the hero is not basically destroying everything and killing everybody, and obliging people to talk and say stuff like this. You have to be subtle and take the time, think, stuff like this.
Yeah, and learn about
I
your
hope it's clear. It's difficult to explain it. Okay.
No, it really is clear. At least for me, it definitely is. So you're doing great. Now tell me a little bit about how the other people in the town see the apostle. How do they respond to him? Is him being, does he reveal that he's an apostle to anyone? are people, going to be antagonistic to him because of that, or is he just going to be kind of like a shadowy figure that tries to blend in without, people noticing he's there?
Yeah, I'm thinking, I hope it will not spoil anything, but basically, it don't. Once he knows that somebody will be his partner or friend or stuff like this, like something trustful, he will be clear on his mission and stuff like this. Because basically, people wouldn't even believe him. So he don't care. Just say
Yeah.
it. So for him, it's like,
Right.
he's 2,000 years old. So he don't care about this kind of consideration, like, will somebody say something bad on me? He don't care. He will just go back to heaven and stuff like this. And sometimes you will have some quite funny scenes. I don't want to spoil anything, but no, he's not hiding it. But yeah, whenever he stalks a demon, he knows that he should be quiet and don't do stupid things, and don't show to everybody that he's an apostle and stuff like this, because he must take informations, and if he misses his mission, he will just ruin the stalk itself. So yeah, in this kind of moment, he's silencious, but in the rest of the time, like discussing with non-important NPCs or people that he just met, he will not hide about that, basically.
Right. He really feels a bit like kind of like a private investigator to some extent, because he's it does. It's like he has a mission. He's going after it. He doesn't want to reveal too much info about himself or anything. It's just, he just wants what he wants, and everyone else can kind of bugger off. So that's kind of cool, because I really like the focus. That's for sure. I really like the focus, because it's a little bit refreshing, but it also shows, and it works really well with this genre, because in order to find people and find their motivation and find how you can get to them, the demons being, right, the targets, you have to actually interact with a lot of people, even if you don't want to, right? And you have to talk to people, and that's a big thing in adventure games, right? Communication with other characters. And so it's just, a little bit different, because they don't crack jokes every other, sentence, because, it's it's a different type of game. Yeah. So
Exactly.
Can you tell me a little bit about the, without spoiling anything, is there going to be like a boss, let's say, at the very end? Are you gonna kind of just go after multiple demons?
Yeah, in fact, it's not like spoiling, because after the demo, you'll discover quickly a lot of things about the game itself and how it's gonna be. So, yeah, to make it clear, you will fast learn that you are here to kill a certain numbers of demons that are between 3 and 5. You don't know yet. It depends on the mission and stuff like this. It is part of the things that you must discover. And every demon is some kind of boss, But it's not exactly like a boss in fighting games or beat them all, stuff like this. You have to destroy the demon himself, and making sure that he can't escape, stuff like this. So you have to establish a lot of things, but you also have to destroy all the system that he puts in order to manipulate people, to exploit people, stuff like this. How he manages his collaborations. So yes, the whole dungeon, like, you are in the hostel at the moment, and it is like a little dungeon, and then you'll have 2 times, 3 times more bigger dungeons, and the entire things will be the boss, with at the end some accelerations of the things and important scenes. But yeah, it's like bosses, but you know, you don't play a point and click for boss fight,
Right.
you know. Yeah, or at least
Yeah.
it should fit into the point and click mechanics and point and click pleasures.
Mhm.
That's it.
That, yeah. So, well, obviously it makes sense because you're not gonna go fighting or anything. But I guess the biggest challenge would be reaching the boss, right? The investigation part,
Yeah.
tracking those demons down. That's kind of the bulk of the game. And then, obviously there's going to be a confrontation, and that's, maybe going to be epic, but yeah, the majority of the time you'll be kind of, grinding there, looking for info, finding where you can, how you can approach a demon, because,
Yes,
they are demons,
exactly.
so they don't want
And
you
I don't
coming. They
want
don't want to see you
to
coming.
spoil anything, but
No, please,
uh,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, you'll yeah. I told myself, how can I make a boss fight, let's say a sort of boss fight scene,
Hmm.
interesting in terms of point and click mechanics instead of just having a cinematics where people fight basically. And it was very
Right.
interesting, and I found out a couple of ideas, and honestly, I can't wait to make it test to people and see how they react. But I'm quite confident. I think it will be fun, very very fun. I think. So yeah.
Okay. Uh,
In fact, the choices there is a linear story, and it is perfect to
mhm,
have point and click for this kind of thing. There are a lot of games like this, like a linear storyline,
mhm,
but the choice of the hero, if you look at point and clicks, it's rarely powerful heroes, you know, because as I
yeah.
said, you have to be subtle, you have to take informations, discuss stuff like this. So I realized later that I'll have to make the game in order to fit this special attribute.
Mhm. Well, yeah,
That's
the
it.
the genre kind of asks for certain things, right? You
Yeah.
can't just, it's more about the puzzles. It's about the dialogue. That's a very big thing, and everything else kind of takes a back turn. It's, a back seat, not back turn, a back seat, and you have to focus on the things that make a genre good, and the point and click adventure game good. And I've seen one of the, some of the examples you put on the Kickstarter page, and those are classic point and click adventure games from the 90s. So, I mean, those had
Yeah.
flaws, but that's that's why you improve on them. So, in terms of the obviously linear, there's going to be a linear path, but is there going to be, let's say, any, not necessarily fail states, but can you fail to some regard in your quest? And if yeah, yes, what consequence would those failures imply?
Well, I
Will
presented.
God call back you and say like, "Oh, come on, you screwed up. What the heck?"
um, Theoretically, the prophecy says that it shouldn't happen. It will not happen,
Hmm.
and at the moment, it never happened. And this is when I explain the mission of Bartholomeus. It's like this, you know. You have to kill the demons,
Yeah.
and once it's done, you go back to heaven. But I won't spoil anything. It will this
Okay.
time. It will not be as easy as it should, and some things will happen. But of course, I can't say what.
Right. Right.
So yeah.
So, the story, okay, that clear paths. Well, maybe branching out a little bit in terms of because you are going in this town, and obviously in the demo you have access to a certain part of it. How will movement in this city happen? Do you need to kind of unlock other parts of the town as you progress in the game, or will you be able to go pretty much everywhere you want from the beginning?
You know, I love that moment in games when you have a certain part of certain area of gameplay where you can go, and suddenly it increases, and you have like 2 or 3 times the the
Mm.
the area that you can visit, and it's like, oh my god, it would be so cool, and that was already cool, and now there will be a lot of space and places that I can visit. It's really a thrilling feeling, and I wanted to do that because I could in this game. It was coherent. And so yeah, in the beginning you are in Gore Bay, yeah, and as you can see, you can go almost everywhere. You've seen at the moment you can't go up because there is a police investigation, and this is the path to Rothberg, and you will have to do another dungeon into the you may guess what it is. I won't say it because I'm already spoiling, but there is another dungeon in Gorbey, and once it's done, you'll access to Rodberg, which is way bigger and with a lot of more environments and dungeons to visit. And the other half of the game, well, not half, the demo is like 30 minutes long, and the final game will be 5-6 hours long, and it's taking place in Rodberg, and it's way bigger, So yeah, it's only two area, Gorbey and Rodberg, and Rodberg is way bigger. It's the true city,
Yeah.
Gorbey is only the harbor area, the marine area. And so that's it.
Yeah, so on the Kickstarter page, well, it's something kind of teasing, I think. You're talking about Gore Bay as being the old town, or the ancient town, or obviously the oldest part, and Rodborg being something newer, more modern. Has the Apostle kind of been here before, maybe in a different time, or what's the significance of these, two areas, very specific ones? Because you mentioned them for some reason, right? The old part and the new part. What does that mean? What's the connection there? Why did you feel you wanted to have that in the game?
It wasn't the Apostle. I've never been there. But I just, like when I was thinking about creating the place you'll visit, basically the city, I told myself, I visited a lot of places, and I thought a lot about a lot of things that make the place I visited like coherent and stuff like this. And often in Europe, I don't know. Yeah, in Europe, I don't know if I have any example, but most of the time you have a city, like I don't know, like Lyon, and you have a city next to this city that is a little bit far away, but with the time, like both cities are growing, and at the moment it's just joining, and it's becoming one big city. It's like the same for, let's say, Bordeaux in France. You have 4 different little cities outside of Bordeaux, and with the time, all the cities are getting bigger and bigger. It's like growing to give another new city. And I wanted to make the same thing because it gives some depth to the environment, and that's why you are in Gorbey, which is a little city. And then you go in Rodberg, which used to be another city, but with the time, both of them have grown, and now it's only one big city, But you still say, I'll go in Gorbey, or I'll go in Rodberg, because it's not exactly the same place, and you'll realize that there is for each part the old part of the Gorbey and the old part of Rodberg, and the new buildings outside of it, joining both of them.
Yeah,
it was really important.
I think you see that a lot. I understand what you're saying. It's in terms of the examples you gave. I think that maybe an easier way to see it is take major cities in Europe, especially, not so much maybe in other areas, but definitely in Europe. They have an old town, and then everything else probably like 20th century later, right? Because a lot of the cities were, bombarded during World War II. Was there was a lot of reconstruction, but like here in Bucharest, we have the old town, right, with different architecture, and then everything else that was built later on. And you have that in Paris and in London, definitely. Of course, you have some new intertwined, but a lot of the cities have that element, especially in Europe, where there's a central part where there's the old town with very small streets, very, very small streets, and incredible architecture. And then the new thing that kind of engulfs it. And obviously that expands as the years go by. And it is a little bit different, but it's technically the same city. It's just different times or different times of construction and periods of architecture and such.
And you have to, when you create a city, you have to have this kind of consciousness, of awareness of how a city is built with the time and history of the city, in order to make it coherent and to give credibility. You have also to think, where is this place? Like I know that Rothberg and Gorbey are in between. In between, it could be France, in fact, because you have some sort of Germanic influences, but also Latin influences, and it's like port next to the sea, so it could be on the coast, on the Atlantic coast of France, let's say, or maybe in England, some things are like this. It is really important, to just imagine how it is built concretely,
Right. Yeah, it has to make sense. It has to feel real, right?
Yeah.
That's, the more real it gets, the more you can believe in what exists and be engulfed in the story and the characters and everything. So, tell me, let's talk a bit more about, I think the visual side, it's very important. And is all the game hand-drawn? Is that...
yes.
Is that how
I think by hand-drawn, what do you mean? Like it's on Photoshop, it's a digital drawing, basically. But
that's still that still counts, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So yes, it is hand-drawn from the beginning to the end. Yeah. By
So
me and
it has
nobody
a very
else.
By me and nobody else. Okay, so that's
No,
so you're
because
the
some
main.
people ask me if somebody is working, let's say like in comics, some people do that. Like I can do the storyboard and like let's say the inking, but it's not the same people who does the color. A lot of people do that for comics book, and they asked me if I did the same thing, but no, I'm doing both side.
So in the demo we see, a specific part. Well, we see Gorbey for sure, and it's night, and it's gritty, and it's dirty, and it's a little bit depressing. It feels like the poor part of a town. When you're gonna go to other areas, will you see shinier, more cleaner buildings, maybe better dressed people who are not homeless? Will you see the light? Is the game all set at night, or are you going to go tell me anything that's not spoilery?
I would say that it's like a true city. In fact, it's always the same thing. You'll have very poor places and very rich places, and you will go it's not really spoiled, but you will go in places that are even poorer than Gorbey, and way more rich than Gorbey, of course. There will be both sides, because demons aren't just rich or poor. They are everywhere. Everywhere they could exploit people and create maleficent things, they will do. So if you fight the devil, there is no perfect place. It could be everywhere. So that's why.
No,
Tell me.
I'm thinking you're definitely going to City Hall then.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it was a joke as politicians, right? Because it's like demons. Where would you find demons in a city? Well, obviously in administration, the people who rule the
Yes.
city. So,
Well, in
okay.
fact,
So,
I don't want to spoil, but
yeah.
yeah, you got it. I mean, you really got. I don't want to spoil too much, but at the end,
I mean,
well, it's kind of obvious in the next
yeah, exactly.
scene of the game. But yeah, in fact, it's not a joke. Yeah, you'll go into
Mhm.
the city hall because yeah, obviously, when you're searching for demons in the society in terms of metaphorical stuff, you will
Yeah.
you will go in that kind of power places. In fact, every
Mhm.
power places that you could imagine,
Yeah.
you'll find a
They'll
demon
find
here.
a
If
spot.
you are playing at the moment, right? Yeah,
Yes,
you are
yes. Do
playing
you
the
want me
game.
to go in a specific
May,
place? Yes.
yeah, could you just click on the head of the character on the bottom
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
Bottom
and the
right.
demons to check the demons.
Yeah,
Yeah.
check the demons.
Sorry, it takes a little while. So yeah, we have Lucifer, Asmodee, which when I read Asmodee, I think of Asmodan, like
Yeah, Asmodean.
his Diablo.
And
Yeah, yeah.
and all this is all the demons that you could see into the game, and you can imagine
Mhm.
how every time an apostle goes into a place that is corrupted, he will meet the same demons, but it can appear in a different way. You know, like let's take I don't know Lucifer. If you read the description of Lucifer, I hope there aren't translation issues at the moment. Wait, you can imagine how could that appear in the human world that Lucifer is acting in a bad way. You know, you can imagine
Right.
all sort of things, and even on a creative side, it was very fun to imagine. Well, he will act exactly like this because the demons don't change. The essence of the demon don't change, but it can appear here in very different ways. So yeah, basically you will
Right, but
meet politicians, you will meet power people, but also I don't want to spoil. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's fair. No, one thing that I really like about the let's say demon lineup and the description, it kind of feels like it's, I don't know if if it's supposed to be kind of like a log um, of the apostle, but it kind of feels like it's a description of the demon, so you know, so or at least you have a better idea of where to look for that demon, because you know this demon is attracted to this malice, this
Oh
demon
yeah.
is attracted to this type of, you know, and then you kind of have an idea of where you should go and who to look for to find
Yeah.
that demon. Right. If
Obviously.
it's a demon that loves power, you go where it's power. If you know one that loves violence, you go where there's supreme violence,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. I think the player will play and obviously find um, with the on the hunt that he is leading. He will understand what kind of demons he is on. You know, I think it will be
Right.
quite evident to the player. And that's part of the pleasure because the apostle is supposed to know the kind of demons that he is talking, but he's not exactly sure
Right.
until a certain moment where he say, okay, this is this demon. And sometimes you have to act differently, and the apostle will think about it for the while he's on the mission, like I must act like this because this demon, I know what kind of powers he has and stuff like this.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
So
basically you can
when
see Waldberg
yeah
part
yeah yeah yeah,
of the city, yeah, like the cathedral.
and it definitely looks huge. I definitely want to go in that cathedral. I hope we'll be able to do that in the full game. No, you know why? One of the reasons is because the artwork is amazing. It really is, and I really want to
Thanks.
see how you draw the inside of a cathedral, because it kind of looks like it's a Catholic, or it's inspired by Catholic cathedrals, and those are very imposing, to say the least. They're very, very imposing, and to convey that in drawing, I think that's it's not easy to do. I think because it's another thing to see, the vastness of a cathedral, and I really want to see how you convey that in 2D, let's say.
Yeah, okay. So you'll see.
I have faith. I'm just saying it's not an easy job, but I have faith it's going to look great. I really definitely want to see that.
I hope. I'm making the best I can to create the best game possible and the best visual possible. And to be honest, the sharing the demo and the Kickstarter was has helped me understanding certain things about what is pleasing, what is not, and stuff like this. And it helped me evolving into the art direction itself. It was very beneficial on this point, and really I'm very motivated to make great environments.
So in terms of the feedback that you got, actually let's break back down a little bit. Was a demo always in plan for you with the Kickstarter? Were you thinking from the beginning, yeah, I have to have a demo when I launch this?
Yeah, I didn't know if that was my last plan, but in the beginning I thought I wanted to. I told myself, wait, I don't have enough fund to make the game entirely, so I just need to present the game and make a Kickstarter. I love the idea of doing a Kickstarter. I think it's a great way to a great opportunity for the players to decide what they will play to. And it creates a lot of human relationship, even with you, like with the YouTubers. Yeah. It's like very cool to meet a lot of people that are truly interested in what you do. So I wanted to do a Kickstarter, and I think even if for the next project it's not necessarily I don't need to do it. I think I'll do it anyway because it's very cool to do it. And so yeah, I told myself the best way to promote a game is to make a demo, and people will see if they like it or not. So yeah, from the beginning it was my idea to make a demo and a Kickstarter.
Right, and the feedback for the demo, how the reception, and when I say I'm asking for reception, oh, by the way, for anyone watching, the demo is available. It's on itch.io, it's on Game Jolt. Both are linked in the description if you want to get it. It's free, available for Windows, so you can get it there. In terms of the reception, tell me a little bit about what you got from, regular people, players, and let's say, the press. How was that? How was the demo received by these parties?
Yes, I'm just precising that the game will be available on Macintosh too. Yeah.
Oh, but the demo's not. But yeah, okay.
Not the demo at the moment, and it's pretty new. Right. So I'm telling it. We will do an announcement very soon, just to say it. The reception of the game is very, very, very good at the moment. And people just love the artworks and the art direction. They love the gameplay, and the only issues were on the translations, because it's our fault. We have done some kind of we had some kind of issue on that. But yeah, the reception from the press is very good. From the players, very good. On Game Jolt, we have like. I don't know how they count. It's like, but it's 100%. 100 on 100%.
The rating.
Yeah, the rating is 100%, and it's 5 on 5 on itch.io. So nice. And the commentaries are pretty excellent. So I couldn't be more motivated on this kind of thing, and I'm really happy because it was a lot of work, to find the good balance in the demo. In fact, designing a point and click is not as easy as it seems, in fact, because it's not I could say I could tell something about that later. But yeah, at the moment the reception is very good here.
Yeah, just if I can, just intervene a little bit. I don't know who thinks designing a game in general is easy, but if anyone thinks that, it's like just imagine, just take, from the outside, just imagine having to design puzzles. If you think designing puzzles is easy, and original puzzles that are not from other games, that is super hard. And the second thing about point and click adventure games, the dialogue and the characters. It's not easy writing good character, and it's definitely not easy writing good characters. So it's, from me, you're not getting like, oh yeah, it's super easy to do this. I mean, probably for you, it's a labor of love from, the quality of the demo. And because, a lot of people put stuff that's earlier, maybe, they have it from the demo, it really looks like you have not only a very good idea of what you want, but also a high bar for the quality of the product.
Yeah.
And, maybe it sounds a little bit weird to say product artwork. I'm fine with that. I'm not, afraid to call games art.
No problem.
Yeah, it's, I guess it depends, on the person, but I think it is artwork. And
I think
the quality of them is really high. Definitely, right? Yeah. It's, and okay, sure, a little bit of translation, but that's, you wouldn't expect everything to be perfect from the beginning. That's for sure. But everything else, a very, very high quality. And I think that's, for anyone who hasn't played the demo, please try it. And then you'll see how it's very likely that the Blind Prophet, when it comes out, it's going to be a very good, high quality game too.
Yeah.
The finished game. So, I think that's shown.
We will do what we can in order to get the best game possible. Really, I'm very, very motivated.
Mm-hmm. Okay, one thing that I really wanted to ask you, like from the beginning, the cutscenes. So they have this comic book style. I think they look really good and they work really good with the rest of the game and how the rest of the game looks. Was that kind of your first go-to? Did you want to do something else for the cutscenes? Did you want to have cutscenes initially, or it was like, oh yeah, this fits, let's do it?
I don't remember. From the beginning, even if I wanted to do a RPG like Vampire the Masquerade, with the open world and stuff like this, even at this moment, I loved the idea that the actions that you do, instead of having animations, you have like these comic style cases. The images, because you can choose exactly what kind of plane you have. Like you see at the moment, you can zoom on the face of the hero while you're discussing, and there is a strong, as I said in the very beginning of the interview, you can really play and have a freedom of what you show if you use this technique. Like when you'll kill the character. Oh, what a spoil! You'll kill this character at the end of the cutscene of the discussion, and there will be a cutscene, and the mastering. It's not the good word. The way that you master all the planes and all what you show exactly like in a comic, it's really perfect to transmit emotions and the narration and stuff like this. Maybe it's more sometimes it's even more efficient than 3D and stuff like this. You can play on the graphic aspect of the game itself, like when you in the cutscene that will come, you can skip it and it will appear, and you see that moment where everything is going red and there is like sketchy lines instead of very defined lines, and it's like way more expressive. And this is what I loved from the beginning of the creative process. it is this ability, this freedom.
And they look amazing, by the way. That's
Thanks.
another thing.
Like you see
They
at the
really work.
moment, yeah.
Yeah.
At the
Yeah,
moment,
yeah, yeah. Sorry, it's playing right
like
now. Yeah.
exactly like this. There is a
Mm-hmm.
little time lapse because of the streaming, but
Mm-hmm.
yes,
Yeah,
like
it's
very cool,
50 seconds. Yeah.
and very efficient to do like this.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I loved.
And I hope it's not like too expensive either. Like in terms of the cost, right? Because that's important too. I don't think that
Yeah,
should be taken out of because obviously you have a limited budget. So making something that works on so many planes in terms of what you want to convey, the how well it fits with the rest of the game, and also making something that doesn't cost a huge amount to create, right? Because you from what the demo has, you'll have quite a few cutscenes. It's not going to be like, oh yeah, you have an intro and then the end, and that's it, right?
yeah,
Like Blizzard style.
yes. The cutscenes are really important. There are plenty of them throughout the game. It's definitely a big part of the production cost. Really, people always think that wow, you have like 99 panels and backgrounds. Wow, it's a lot of work. Well, in fact, that's not the bigger work. The big work is really on the cutscenes, making it full of expression, putting the good music, the good animations, onomatopoeias, and stuff like this. It's really a picky work, and yeah, you're right. Yeah, you sense it well. It's a very costly thing, yeah, in terms of time and energy and stuff like this.
And one thing that you definitely mentioned, the sound, the audio part, and how that has to integrate. Can you tell me what's the plan for this? Is going to be like a kind of like a theme for the whole game? Will we have maybe different tracks for different parts of the city? Obviously, the cutscenes will have, I'm guessing, right, their own, dynamic and sound according to that. But anywhere else, what can we expect?
I work with two guys. One is Jeff, and another one is Arthur, the CEO of Hibernian Workshop, and they are both doing great music, and they are complementary because Jeff is doing some kind of ambient, dirty, frightening music, and it's like perfect. And Arthur is more doing like chill or metallic type of sounds, and you can hear I think it's 50-50 the sound that you hear into the music that you hear into the demo, and they are both complementary. Arthur is doing the sound effects too. It's a really important job, especially in this type of game that you want a big immersion. It's really important. And the way we proceed with them is that Jeff is making the main how to say the main ambiences of the games. Yes, like not really the
background.
Yeah, like the background music that you will hear in all the game. And Arthur is more into doing cinematic music, but I also use some of the music into a playable moment. But yeah, it is globally like this. Like Arthur is doing cinematics and stuff like this, and Jeff is doing ambient and background music while you are playing, basically. But that's like everything. Like if you say, well, this music is cool into a cinematic or vice versa, well, you just switch. It's we are free on this on this side.
Okay. And will there be a soundtrack available upon release?
Oh yeah, I think it's in the pledge too. The Walls original soundtrack will be available in a separate file in the best quality possible. because sometimes the quality is not perfect in game, because I think the engine is reworking the sound a little bit, so it's not the original, but we will do the perfect one at the end. And also sometimes we have to cut some music, but you'll have all the original soundtrack at the end. I don't know how. Maybe it will last 1 hour or 2. I don't know exactly.
That's pretty good for a soundtrack, I think, in terms of the length.
Yeah, but it's a lot of ambient music. It's like 5-6 minute tracks, and it's
Right.
there are a lot of them. I think there will be 20 ambient tracks at the end with Jeff, and still a lot with Arthur. So it will be a lot of soundtracks. It will be a good playlist. Yeah.
And you can listen to it outside of the game, no problem. Just
Of course.
don't think there are demons around you when you start listening. It's like you're fine. Just relax, listen. I mean, who knows? I mean, the game would probably impact the players, right? So it's gonna be like, yeah, I so like the music in this area, and then you play it's like, wait, it's a little eerie around here. I don't like it.
Well,
Like,
I could do. We could say it on the end of this interview. I was working with a guy for the marketing, and one day we had a very long discussion, and he was tired and stuff like this, and I was explaining him what was after the demo, because he didn't know what was after the demo. He only played the demo and stuff like this. He told me like, what's going on after it? Can you tell me about the plot, the story, and stuff like this? And I begin to explain him some stuff, and it's kind of frightening, And it was like, okay, Baptiste, I did not understand that we were working on that, and it's quite disturbing because it's about spirits and demons. And I believe in this kind of things, and at the moment I'm not very well because it was very late in the night, and I had to to help him calm down, because he wasn't managing the fact that he was working on stuff that were really dealing with demon stuff and things like this, that it was really frightening for him.
So when he plays it, he has to play it with the lights on. Definitely not at night. Definitely not. Just someone else in the house. Definitely.
Yes, that part of the demo isn't frightening. There will be. I wanted the game to have very different kind of moment. There will be like a very frightening moment, and very chill moment, and very funny moment too, not like cartoony, but very funny situations, in the game. That's what I wanted to play, so that's why what I created simply. But some moments are quite.
Because I want to see how you put those in.
yeah, I think. Anyway, you'll get the game once it's out. Of course, I would love to know what you think.
Oh, well, maybe we can do an interview when it comes out too, so we see how hey, it's finished, and I'll be like, hey, that's great. Now tell me about the RPG you're making right now, because I have a feeling the next game is going to be an RPG. I'm just speculating here. I'm just throwing it out there. Maybe.
I don't know. It really depends on how the game will work or not. It depends a lot on the success of this game.
Of course, it has to work, right?
I hope. I don't see why it wouldn't work, because people just love it. I got people like, wow, when is it going out? I just want to play it. My God, please.
Right.
So it's I
think
I just said that I was thinking that the demo a lot of people told me that the demo was really good, but really I didn't expect that much of a very, very good reception. Honestly, as a creator, I can say honestly that no, I didn't expect that.
Well, maybe you're a bit too critical of your work, you know? It's like, you know, maybe it's like, oh, I actually did something incredible. You know, congratulations me. Now let's get some money from Kickstarter.
But
no, you know what I think?
You have to understand that I've created a game before this one that was like, it wasn't like complete shit. I wouldn't exaggerate, but it was good.
You know, I really want to try it. Seriously, now you have to.
I'll send it to you. Don't worry.
Okay.
After this stream. But yeah, I wasn't self-confident, you know, and I worked so hard to really this time understand what's going on, what is the best way to make it, and how to make the best game as possible. That, you know, maybe I went on critic mode on too much, you know, and I wasn't objective enough on what I was doing. But it's good because too much of a critique lead me into doing something that is quite clean, and this is good. I think I'll just continue like this, and it's good for me. I don't want to be too much self-confident at the moment. Critique is very good.
Well, you know, yeah, and you're learning, and you say about the previous game, okay, whatever mistakes you made in that one, right?
Yeah.
You know better now. So that experience has improved. You know, there was this saying from you know, a guitarist. He's like, with every single day that I practice, I become better in my art. And I think that's true with anyone who continues to do something for a very long time. You get better at it, and better and better. And all those moments where you think that, you know, you're not that good, maybe that's true. But that's experience that you cannot gain in any, because you can't just look at something and say like, oh, I learned how to make a good game. You can't just play a game or 5 games and say, I know how to make a good game, and then make it. Obviously not. It's, you know, it's about coding, it's about artwork, it's about dialogue, it's about so many things. So I think, you know, don't be too hard on yourself, you know, just balance. That's true.
Yeah.
Keep it balanced.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you have to try to be objective. Well, in a good critique.
For you, it'd be hard, right? Because you're making this. So, you know, for someone doing anything, it's hard to be as objective as someone from the outside. I mean, right? Obviously, everyone has their biases, but when you're very attached to something, right, you can't think 100% clearly. And it's not no one's fault. I don't think anyone can do that.
It's normal.
Because you can't just rip yourself out of, you know, maybe if you suffer from like multiple personality disorder, you know, it's like, different personality. No, technically I think that will work, but in other cases, not so much. So.
Yeah, it comes with experience and maturity.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's experience. That was experience that you carried on, and the work that you do now is the best work that you have done so far. So, you know, how is that a bad thing? It's not. And you know what? If I may, with the Blind Prophet, I think this very good reception you're mentioning. I think one of the reasons is that it's not a cartoony point and click adventure. Not that it's anything bad with cartoony, but it's a very gritty and dark and serious, and you know, it's like for an audience that doesn't have that. You really don't have that with point and click adventure games. You don't have something where you chop off someone's head, right? Or you don't have something you go after demons. No, usually it's, you know, it's not bad, right? But you have to make, I don't know, a little something to help a frog, or, you know, I'm just putting anything out there, but you know, but with this, it's something that
Blade Runner, maybe it was
Yeah,
Blade,
yeah, but there's
Blade
very
Runner.
few examples. That's
Yeah, very
but there's
few.
very few examples of that. Yeah. So like with Dark Souls, with with a different genre, or Dark Devotion, right?
Yeah.
It's more mature themes. I think they're not as, let's say, represented, and I think
Mhm.
there's a market for that. And I think you tapped in that market with the Blind Prophet, with people who want something that is not for 12-year-olds in terms of the writing, in terms of the artwork, in terms of the in terms of the theme, right?
Mhm.
Something for people who have some
Yeah,
experience, and that's a good thing.
absolutely. Yeah.
That's missed.
That,
So speaking of missed, something that we missed talking about. Tell me a little bit about the technical part, the engine, why you chose what you chose. It's Unity, right? You're using Unity?
no, it's a tiny
No.
French engine that is
Oh.
Click Team Fusion 2.5. And it's this kind of I don't remember exactly the other engine that is close to it. Maybe it's Construct 2, something like this, but it's basically the same thing. Like it's programmation, but for those who don't know how to program. So it's basically a simple programmation. But in fact, you have to push it very far in order to make a true game. But the approach is easier than true programmation. You don't have to learn code and stuff like this. It's only logical things, and you create your line code like this. It's
So did you work with this before? Before the Blind Prophet, I mean.
yes, on the precedent game, the previous game that I told you about, I did it with the same engine. In fact, I learned it in my art school. They have some lessons that aren't exactly art. You are just doing some kind of programmation, and that's where I learned to do it. And for me, I was creating games in my room, and I discovered that at the moment I could finally do, if I worked, of course, create games by myself. And it was like an infinite freedom. So it was fantastic.
So did you do anything? Did you have to do anything special? Did you have to bring anyone else, like in terms of the scripting part, or can you actually do it like from beginning to end yourself?
Yeah,
With this engine?
uh, th- there are people that are really good on this engine, and I know how to do a couple of things, but there were a few things to really push the game out, like with texts and how to deal with text and smooth interface and stuff like this. And I've worked with in order to construct the core engine with a programmer whose name is Clément Villet. He's very well known on the engine, and he helped me bringing this quality of smoothness that you see into the game. I really must congratulate him. I don't know the English word, but yeah, thanks to
Congratulate,
Clément.
thank. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
To say thank you to him. And but at the moment is not like integrating the new stuff into the game. I'm doing it by myself, and it's way easier. But he's helping me like every time I have a question or big bug or some kind of issues, he's there in the back and he helps me. So thanks you, Clément, if you hear that. Let's say for the Mac portage, I asked him, yeah, can we do it? Can we port the game on Mac, stuff like this, or on Switch or on PlayStation 4? Let's say he has the answer on these very strong questions. Yeah.
Oh, so it's good that you mentioned platform. So, in terms of what is, let's say, the baseline, I like that word. What are the main platforms that you're definitely going to bring the Blind Prophet on?
Windows and Macintosh, for sure. And we are thinking about the rest. Like, is it really worth to port it on Switch and stuff like this? We don't already know. We would like. It's not 100% sure, but we would love to port it on tablet, iOS, Android, stuff like this. It would be great. The game is already running on these platforms, but it require some tiny changes in terms of fonts, police, stuff like this, and game design also, because something you can't do because basically you are playing with your fingers, and the screen is more little, so you can't do some stuff. So it's not 100% sure, but maybe it will pop out on Android and iOS.
Have any, I don't know if you brought, if you thought about that, but have any publishers approached you, or did you approach them about the Blind Prophet, and maybe them helping you out, not only release the game but also release it on all the platforms that you mentioned?
We have a couple. We are already working with a community villa, which is only for the marketing side. They are Polish. They are very good, and they are working with us. But it's only on marketing side. It's not like publisher. And we might be working with some kind of Asian clients. It's not sure already. We are waiting maybe to see what kind of what will happen until the end of the Kickstarter. But yeah, we have some propositions. Yeah.
When you said Asian, I'm thinking like, is Tencent going to be like buy like 50% of the game or something? Because basically it's like okay, it's not Tencent. It's like, yes, is SoftBank going to give you like, I don't know, 20 million for a 20% stake?
No. Nothing is.
I mean,
sure
those are the players.
on this, so I don't want to say too much about it because it's not sure. But yeah,
that's fair.
We will see. You'll see.
That's fair. So, do you have, as we close, try to finish this off, unless, if you want to mention anything else, please feel free to
just go
intervene.
on the right, in the game. Go in the place with the mermaid. You see what I mean?
Mermaid?
Yeah. Go on the right. Then right again, then right again.
With the, you
With
mean
the
right? Yeah.
Yeah, the right again. Up. Yes. Yeah.
Sorry, at the club. Yeah.
Yeah, at the club. Yeah.
Right?
Thanks. I just love this place.
Mermaid Smile.
I don't know if you have the music.
Well, I can't wait. Well, the music is just turned down, so we hear ourselves fine.
Okay.
But I definitely encourage everyone to play. And I mean, I definitely can turn it on, like, up if there's anything. But if anyone wants to play it and hear the great music, download, links in the description for it on itch.io, Game Jolt, both links there. Do you have any other games that you play? Do you have time for anything else? Or recently, are you looking forward to anything else for this year? In addition to your game, obviously, which it takes a huge chunk of your time, is, what's your gaming life now?
What was I playing before? To be honest, I don't have that much time to play.
Right.
But I played a game that I didn't play again for the development was Grim Fandango, and I finally did it, and it was great, very, very great. I also played some old games, like the first Fire Emblem. I made a couple of missions on that. Also Gargoyle's Quest. a very old NES game, and I played. Yeah, I don't play like big games, and I finished them. It was just like to see what's going on in terms of different kind of game design, and
Right.
but other than that, well, yes, the Sunless Sea. I've played
Oh, right.
little bit of Morrowind recently. Very different kind of games. I've been
Right.
playing 13 on a GameCube, the game about comics, indeed, and
Wait, do you
stuff
have a
like this.
GameCube that works?
No,
Or
no,
do you have like an
no.
emulator or something?
Yeah,
Ah,
emulator.
okay. I was thinking like, wait, you have a working GameCube. What? You could probably sell that for some money right now.
No, no. I don't. Unfortunately, I don't have it anymore.
How many
Unfortunately.
people bought that? Really, I'm really sorry for Nintendo about that, but come on. I think was that like the
For the
worst
GameCube.
selling console they made?
The
Yeah.
GameCube. Ah, what?
Oh, come on.
That was
How well was
the.
that sold?
No,
Yeah.
they did. It sold well, no? The
Yeah.
GameCube.
I don't think it did that great
Yeah.
actually.
Okay. I don't know. I was young.
Back in its origin run.
Okay. I don't
Well,
know.
you
We
have it.
will
That's
check
that's
later.
great.
Okay.
I really don't think it did that great. The GameCube, but
Okay. I
maybe
don't
I'm
know.
wrong. It's been a long time. I think when was it released? 98, 99, 20, 2000? No, 2000, something like that, maybe.
I
I don't
don't
remember.
remember.
It's an old one.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was in the
Very.
PS2 era, I think, right?
Yeah.
Something like
Uh,
that. So, yeah, right?
just after. Yeah. No, I was thinking. Yeah. That's all.
Oh, thinking about the GameCube?
No, no.
That's, it's a classic console, but yeah, that's, a long time ago. I think it was last century. I don't. The GameCube is freaking old, definitely old. I think it's newer than the PlayStation 2, but
I have it.
and the
It's
yeah.
2001. That's
Okay, so yeah, it's definitely a lot older, a lot younger than the PlayStation 2. Yeah, yeah. 2001. Well, those were good times. Actually, well, never mind because it was 9/11. Never mind. Never mind about 2001. No one think about that. It's okay. A quick thing. So you with the Kickstarter, you're looking to raise 10,000 euros. You
Yeah.
passed. It's over
Half.
5,200 at this point, and. For those people interested, there's an early bird tier for as little as 15 euros, which is about $17. There's still around 90 left if you want to get the game cheaper. When those are gone, it's going to be 20 euros. So is that 20 euros? Maybe indicative of the final price of the game. Is it going to be 20 or maybe 25, something like that?
Oh, I would like to stop it on 20. It depends on something with publisher and stuff like this, so it's not 100% sure, but 20 will be the maximum in my opinion.
And in terms of the platforms, stores, where do you think you're gonna have it?
Steam and all the DRM3, like itch.io and GameJolt, hopefully GOG, goodoldthegames.com. But once
Epic,
again, maybe
the
it
Epic
could
Games
change
Store?
with publisher,
Right. That would be cool to have it on the Epic Games Store. Why not?
And for the translations,
I mean, you get a bigger cut. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Yeah, on Steam, you mean?
No. I mean the Epic Games Store. The
Okay.
recently launched store from Epic Games. I mean,
yeah.
that's. I mean, yeah, because they've actually, well, they've released quite a few games since then. They have probably definitely more than a dozen games on it now, and it really feels like it's growing exponentially in terms of the number of titles. So hopefully maybe you're gonna have it there, because you know what, it's a bigger cut. So that's if you can get more, if the actual creators of the game can get more money, that would be a good thing. Yeah, Steam. Just Valve, take note. 30%. Come on,
Steam. We know you are very interested in knowing in this interview of the Blind Prophet demo. So we know you are listening. Stop the cut right now.
They They should cut it down. Come on, they should. So, if you have anything else to say, if not, we can wrap it up because I know you're super busy, and I'm really thankful that you took the time for this.
Oh, it's normal. It's a pleasure. Well, I would like to just say thank you to all the person who are working with me: Clément, Arthur, Jeff, and Scott, who is helping me with just a friend. Janek and Bartosz, who are helping me at Community Villa, and all everybody that helped me. And thank you to the people who love the game and want to see it out. So yeah, that's it. That's only a big thank you to everybody and stuff. That's it for me. And thank you to you,
everyone, for. Well, it's for me it's always a pleasure. I wish I could do this every day basically, because it's I don't know. I see the passion in the project that you make, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to you. And if I may say, you seem like a person who is not only talented but also humble, and I think that's a good thing, because that would make you. I think that can help you work harder and make something that's gonna be enjoyed by a lot of people. And I really hope the Blind Prophet is gonna be that in terms of the success. So everyone, there's a demo out, as I mentioned many times. This is what you see on the screen. You can play it, check it out if you like the game, if you want to support it. The Kickstarter has 3 more weeks to go, so there's plenty of time if you want to support it. At least 15 euros, or 20, depending on that tier being finished, would get you a copy of the game. And it's not far off, actually. You're not gonna wait too long, because the plan is for the end of this year, right?
Yeah, it will be out at the end of the year. Yeah, definitely.
So it's relatively close. So check that out on links in the description for all of that, for the Kickstarter campaign, the demo, everything. Where can people find you on social media?
Yes, on Facebook and Twitter. Twitter at AskGoetia Games, and Facebook on the Blind Prophet page, basically. And Instagram, if you love Instagram, there is an Instagram page, AskGoetia Games. If you love it. Okay,
so well, it's definitely for the artwork. If you can put some sketches, I think that would be great, because that's it's cool to see the inception.
We will do that.
So check those out there. For me, I really hope the campaign is successful. I really hope you realize your vision, and we're gonna talk maybe soon about that RPG. Or about the Blind Prophet 2, I'm not really sure. Whatever you want, I definitely support you. So, we just have to, you know better, that's for sure. I'm not the one I'm sure you know better what you want to do. And, the next project, when it's going to be like, the Blind Prophet made so much money. Sony, Microsoft have it on the consoles, Nintendo have it on the Switch. It's fine. I'm just, now I can actually make, and it'll be like, you're gonna call me like, what happened? It's like, guess what? Well, what? That Vampire the Masquerade thing? It's like, yeah. Guess who has the IP? And I'd be like, get out of here. It's like, I mean, though, you know what? That's the thing. It's a real shame. It's a real shame about that IP not being used for games.
Very, very
crazy
that I will tell to you after the stream in private on this subject matter.
Good. So we're gonna talk more about that. That's fair. It's okay. It's it's business. It's business. Like, he can't say right now that he's negotiating for the IP, right? I mean, that other stuff, it's okay. Working with Bethesda, he's basically gonna make, he's gonna be a concept artist on, the Elder Scrolls 7. Yeah, the next one. Yeah, because it's Bethesda. Bethesda saw that Fallout 76 didn't do that great, so we were thinking, what? I think we need some people with a lot of drive to make the new game. So yeah, it's gonna happen. Everyone, thanks so much for watching.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks to you for being here, and for
Thanks to
anyone
you.
who wants to support the game, there are links in the description. If you want to support me, as always, you can like this interview, you can share it with other people. Check out the back catalog, because I passed recently 2,000 videos, so you'll definitely find something there that you like, games that are not covered by other people, or other channels, or other lives, or other streams, or sites. So check those out, and links in the description for other stuff to support me. If you buy stuff from the Epic Games Store, the Humble Store, Fanatical, you can help me through the purchases if you use those links. Thank you everyone for watching, and well, I guess we're wrapping up here. Go play the Blind Prophet. Thanks, and until the next time we see each other, have an awesome day.
Bye.
Bye.